Reavers.
That's right. It's time for the Weekly Scramble podcast. My name is Chris Reavers. With me, as always, his name is Mike Fredoloni. Hello, Michael.
How you doing, Reavers?
I am doing well. It's one of those days where, and we had to do it on a different day for scheduling issues, but it's one of those days where there's so much crap to get to. I really don't know where to begin.
Oh, yeah.
But let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
But one of the things that I really wanted to talk to you about today was it's going to be a huge day all around the country tomorrow because of the No Kings protest taking place.
That's going to be cool.
All over the country, including right here in our own backyard in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Sure.
And I got to tell you, seeing some of this footage coming from Los Angeles these last couple of days is both hilarious, depressing, and I don't know how else to describe it. But it just kind of gives you a glimpse into the world in which we live, right? Where it's like, what? Go get a job.
Sure.
Go be a functional member of society. I get it. It's a God-given right to have peaceful protests here in this country. That is your God-given right.
Sure.
But at the same time, I want to say, but just don't be a bleep hole, right?
Yeah.
You know, the one of the ones that I loved, that I enjoyed a lot, was there was a young man who had thrown a canister of some type
At a cop.
at an LA. I don't know if it was a police officer or a deputy or a sheriff's deputy.
Sure.
And he turned around to walk away like, yeah, look what I did. And he immediately gets crunched by another civilian.
Just another guy.
And smashed into the ground. And I thought, yes. That's why social media is great, is for videos just like that.
Yeah, I'm really at a loss of when did it become good to stand in front of cops and scream at them, right? And the cops are there to make sure everyone's safe, right?
Yep.
Peacefully protesting.
Yep.
And when did someone get the balls to stand in front of a cop and scream obscenities at them and splash water on them and do all that? It's like, that's not civil society, right? I'm not a big fan of that. I'm just going to go on record and say I would not do that.
Right.
It seems so damn weird. We had talked about all this illegal immigration, and I just was on my phone and I looked up Milton Friedman and great economist, and he was talking about America, and I was kind of just all over on the concept of immigration, because I'm really having a problem with it. And he said something really interesting, and I didn't know this, but before like 1914 in America, we had open immigration in America. You just could come to America. We did have some rules that followed. They said if the American society is 13% Germans, then 13% of people could immigrate to America if they were German, right? So if we were 11% Polish or 3% Polish, 3% of the people that could immigrate were Polish, right? So it took what we were in 1914, roughly, 1914 through 1920, they kind of developed this and said, hey, if you're this class of, this nationality of person, you can come in.
Yeah.
Right? And we just did that. And they said the only difference, what Milton said, the only difference, I tried to express this on our last show, is that when they came legally or illegally back then in the early 1900s, they came for jobs. Now people come for welfare. And he was actually proclaiming that illegal immigration was fantastic for America in the early 1900s because people came for jobs and worked. They paid taxes, right? They were forced to pay taxes. They didn't get any benefits whatsoever, right? And that was financially really good for America. And now you can have free and open immigration like that. If people come here for jobs, you can't have free and open immigration when they come here for welfare. It just
doesn't work. Yeah.
Right? It just implodes. And I thought I was actually kind of proud of myself that I had roughly the same thoughts as Milton Friedman, right? I was kind of proud of myself for that. And when I think about what's going on in California with these riots and what's going to happen on the No Kings Day, that people are going to be screaming that they want illegal immigrations to get free health care and we need to support them and they need to. And I think, wait, that doesn't work that way.
Right.
We just can't do it. We can't financially do it. And I wish we could take people and say, I totally agree with you. We want people to have free health care. Write us a check for $12,000 and put their money where their mouth is. Because they're so disconnected from the actual payment of something like that the moment they had to pay it, they'd say, well, it's for the billionaires to pay. It's like there's not enough billionaires to pay for what you're asking.
To foot this bill.
Exactly.
And I guess that's what's so frustrating because, right, of all the states in the union that can least afford, California is already bankrupt. You
Minnesota's
don't have
close
any
behind,
money. And we're right behind them. And that's why when all of this talk surfaced, what was it? not even a week ago. It was earlier this week. And I'm thinking, what planet are you people living on? No one is signing up for this. And I keep using that phrase over and over again on this show, but I mean it. I didn't sign up for this crap.
Do you think politicians used to become politicians to change the course of America to the positive? And they'd be ideologues and they'd say, hey, I think we need to do this. And now I feel like politicians are all sound bites. They just need to say the next sound bite and that gets them through. When you watch Gavin Newsom talk, you're like, I don't know what he even stands for anymore.
Right.
Because, his podcast, he's totally different than what he says politically, in more of a formalized way. It's like, well, are you just a soundbite? I believe I knew what Ronald Reagan stand for. And he followed what he did what he said and he said he was going to do, and he did what he said he was going to do and said what he was going to do. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But politicians today seem to I'm going to vacillate with the wind, say whatever, change my mind all over. I don't have any deep notions of what's right and what I plan to do in perpetuity, right? Everything changes. And it seems so damn weird. It's like, who can have the best 144 character soundbite, and that's who we're going to elect as our governors.
Well, and the gaslighting that continues to take place, even with our own beloved governor here with Tim Walz, it's comical. It's almost as if none of these people have understood that, the internet doesn't lie. Or,
sure.
I mean, yes, the internet lies, but you know what I mean? There's videos that are always going to resurface of things that you said not that long ago. And Walz, and we'll get to Walz here in a minute, but all of this stuff is out there for all of us to consume, but they're just preying upon the fact that they have so many people that are so stupid that cannot think for themselves, that are just going to gobble up and believe whatever they're force-fed, that might be enough to keep them in power.
Wouldn't they be embarrassed? Wouldn't they say, I'm embarrassed that there's video of me saying something totally contradictory to this?
Yeah, it's like a podcast.
I would be like, oh, remember when I said XYZ? I can't say something totally different now. They don't care. They have no care on that. And it's just so... and Governor Walz, too. He's sitting there, right? Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, before we move to Walz, because again, you get all these little kind of subplots and storylines that develop from things like the LA riots, right? And one of my favorite things that I found, this took place, I think this was, because it's today's Friday the 13th. Happy Friday the 13th, Michael. This took place late Wednesday. And it says, breaking. Reports out of Los Angeles say a man is placing MAGA stickers on protesters' cars in an attempt to make them turn on each other and destroy one another's vehicles. Gosh. Now, see, that's next level thinking.
Good.
That is next level thinking.
That's 3-level chess.
Well, and do you remember back in 2020? Obviously, you do. In 2020, when we had the George Floyd riots going on here in our own backyard, I mean, again, this is COVID. We were all, socially distancing. We were all working from home and things like that. But I remember I still had to come in every day, which I was happy to do. Yep. But I remember just that eerie feeling driving through our own cities, right? I remember thinking, boy, this is so surreal, because you could still... I mean, the pawn shop that they burned, I drive by that pawn shop right off 94. I drive by that every single day when I go to and from work. And I remember looking at that burned down structure thinking, this doesn't seem real. Yeah. None of this seems real. And in that, you had all these little storylines where you would see all of a sudden every other car on the road had another state's license plate, right? Sure. Where that was kind of odd. That was
you're like, where are they? Yeah,
where are all these people coming from?
In? Yep.
And that's why when Joe had what I thought was one of the most brilliant diatribes he had a couple of days ago about just what's really behind all of these protests and just the lineage, right? This group is funded by this, which is also funded by that group, which is supplanted by this group. And it's just like, none of this is happening by accident, right? All of this is organized, all of this is orchestrated, and it really just makes you feel how insignificant you are as an individual, right? At least that's the way I feel. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I was out of town this last week. I was down in Memphis, right? And I get a text message from a buddy someplace else. He actually lives partially in Hawaii. And he says, hey, are the riots affecting your Lake Street store? I said, what? Just being in Memphis, I was far enough away from the story in Minneapolis. Then I get back, I'm trying to find news of the riots on Lake Street. There wasn't any riots. But he's seeing the news someplace else in Hawaii that riots are starting again potentially in Minneapolis. And I thought, is that how this all happens, right? Is the news, so they have to find something salacious to talk about and push. And, you know, this LA News anchor, I don't know if you guys talked about this on Garage Logic, that said, he says, a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn.
I'll play the soundbite because I actually used that on Garage Logic the other day. Hang on, let me see if I can find this.
Can you say something more ill-timed
and idiotic? People having fun burning car or watching cars
burn.
I believe it was the ABC 7 affiliate that
Jory Rand.
Here we go. Cue the talent and
group of people. It could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation and altercation between officers and demonstrators.
And the caption just reads, "We don't hate the media enough."
Yeah, honest to God, I don't get, who do you trust? Who do you believe?
But if let's say you're and I don't want to indict, the company I work for, but let's say you're the station manager of ABC 7 in Los Angeles. How in God's name do you not march down and say, "What are you doing?" You can't say that on live television.
And
we have just lost all credibility.
Yeah, you 100% lost all credibility. To be fair, when you're talking all day long on television, right? When you're extemporaneously speaking on TV, it would be very difficult not to say something stupid. We do it here, right? We say stupid things on this show all the time.
Yep.
But I just don't. As I looked through the media that I wanted to find to see if there was rioting on Lake Street, I'm like, oh, where would I go? Do I go to ABC 5, right? Do I go to Twitter? Do I go to the Free Press? I have no idea where to go to find news that I would remotely believe anymore.
I know.
Right? And it's just super sad. It's really frustrating, Reavers.
I've got good news to share, though, with the Weekly Scramble listeners, and this includes you, Mike Fratelloni.
Oh, really?
So I had the opportunity to tour the We Are Nuts facility, our new best friends in the whole wide world, the family-owned We Are Nuts corporation here in Minneapolis. So get this. So I'm on this tour. We had three wonderful people from Fratelloni's.
Sure. Did you have to wear a little hairnet?
We had to wear the hairnet.
Okay.
You know what the key is, though, to having a really good, successful tour of a fantastic facility?
Free samples.
Yes.
Okay.
But more importantly, make sure you go to the right facility.
Oh, did you go to the wrong one? Oh, no.
Sure did.
Okay.
Well, because I remember, and I'm not blaming you.
I don't know why you blame me.
Because
I wasn't even there.
I remember you saying it's super close because you had been to the facility already to meet with the fine folks at We Are Nuts. And so you said, "Oh yeah, it's super close. It's only about a mile away." And so I thought, or you said it was close. I can't remember if you said it was a mile away.
I think I might have not known where it was when I said that.
No, but I think you met at their existing facility, and they are opening up a new location in Northeast.
Their production facility is different. Yes. Right. Okay. Yes.
Which that one is currently not open to the public, but it will be shortly, and we'll have news on that in the coming months. But yeah, I went to the wrong facility.
Okay.
Although I found out they have a nice grocery store over there at that facility.
Nice.
Yeah, so I can go get some groceries before I sit in traffic for an hour and a half on my way home. Anywho, We Are Nuts. These guys are fantastic. And listen, I know we got short notice here, but Father's Day is coming up fast. So forget about the boring gifts. Give Dad something he'll actually enjoy with We Are Nuts. It's locally made, insanely fresh, and packed with flavor. Their premium nuts and mixed snacks are the perfect way to show Dad that he's the best. Whether he loves cashews, peanuts, almonds, or a sweet and salty mix, We Are Nuts has it all. And you can purchase We Are Nuts jars for $2 off at all Lund's and Byerly's locations. Thursday, June 12th, that's yesterday, through Wednesday, June 25th at all Lund's and Byerly's for We Are Nuts. But also visit their website. It's wearenutsmn.com. Like I mentioned, I got a tour of their facility. It's stunning how many products that they have.
Oh, yeah.
It's really
impressive.
cool. And also seeing how it's outsourced. Like he's saying, Brian was his name, and he's saying, we're getting, what did he say? Like 80 trillion tons of cashews that are coming from, from Vietnam. It's just cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
And I said, this is a really interesting look at how you guys do things. I never thought I would find this interesting, but it's very, very cool.
Then you sent me a picture of a pallet of product, and you're like, it's going to your Waconia store. I'm like, that much?
That
Like,
whole
because we're
pallet?
building these end caps, right?
Yeah.
Like couple of 3-foot end caps. That's going to have everything, like not everything, but a huge variety of their stuff. They're just starting to hit stores now, but I didn't know it was like a pallet of stuff per store. That's all of a sudden a lot of products. So please, if you're looking to try some We Are Nuts, stop into a Fratelloni's, ask them for the We Are Nuts end cap, and we're going to show you all the products. Then we're going to have some deals. It's going to be great.
That's really cool. So once again, visit wearenutsmn.com and let them know that Reavers and Fratelloni sent you their way. The Weekly Scramble. We'll be right back.
That has to be a scary damn thing.
Oh my God.
To start realizing like, oh shit, I'm stuck here. This is not going to work. Folks that are on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, this is open mic time because Reavers is doing something on his phone that he has to take care of, which because he left his kid's baseball bag in the back of his truck. His wife needs to get it because they need to get down to Albert Lee. And I'm just reading the New York Post about this story about a 15-year-old girl getting killed by 30 to 40 dogs that looked cute, but were obviously dogs that were super hungry. And they,
all right.
Oh, scary. Okay, where are we going next?
I want to stay with the politics. Or do you want to do the U of M thing first?
You go.
Let's do the U of M thing first because let's take a break.
Sad
from
news
politics.
of the U of M.
Yep. All right, you ready?
Yep.
So you have sad news out of the University of Minnesota.
I do have some sad news. Have you ever played the Les Bolstead golf course, Rivers?
No, but I know where it is, but I have never. You know me. I really shouldn't. If your course is serious, I shouldn't be on it.
Well,
ever.
this is a public course, right?
Okay.
So it's meant for guys in the public. Don't get me wrong. I played there like 2 weeks ago for my buddy's birthday. In fine shape. It's a really nice little course. Well, for some reason, because I'm a University of Minnesota alum, I get emails just about everything they do. And this was the first time an email really pissed me off from the University of Minnesota.
Oh.
They are closing the University of Minnesota Les Bolstead golf course. Opened in 1914.
You're kidding.
No, it's right next to it's right across the street from the state fair, basically.
Yep.
I think you know where it is.
Yep.
And they had just spent a fortune redoing it in the last couple of years. Changed the first hole, made it a dog leg to the right, and did a bunch of stuff to it. And now they're closing it. And as I read through this little email, because I'm frustrated, right? Super frustrated about it. It says, University of Minnesota has stated that the decision to close the course stems from financial challenges and the need to align its resources with its core mission of supporting students, advancing research, and serving the state. So by them closing it, we're going to go ahead and close the golf course, sell it off to the city of Falcon Heights, and Falcon Heights is going to build a bunch of 3-story apartment buildings with retail on the bottom or whatever they're going to do in this space. Just put a bunch of housing. Good for the city of Falcon Heights, right? They get to bring some more people into Falcon Heights. But I just don't get why the University of Minnesota, with their vast coffers, can't keep a stupid golf course going. One frustrating thing about this golf course, too, is the University of Minnesota that's right on the farm campus, right? That's what we always used to call it. The St. Paul campus was the farm campus. And they have a turf school, right? So a professional golf course management turf school. And forever, Les Bolstead Golf Course, all their turf was the shittiest turf around. And I thought, why don't you take the kids that are at school to become professional turf management professionals at golf courses that are 400 yards that way and bring them here and use this property to make the course really great? Some magical way in the last couple of years, they made the course pretty great, right? It's in pretty decent shape for a public course that everybody can play. And I thought, why do you have to get rid of something with such a legacy? 1914, I'm sure Les Bolstead, I don't know anything about him. I don't know if he was a regent or the president of the university at the time or the guy who gave the land. I don't know who it was.
Right.
Should probably figure that out before I said this. But somebody had the plan to keep this a gem for Minnesota, and it's lasted over 100 years. They just redid it. Now they said, you know what? We're going to sell it for some condos.
So here's the frustrating part about, I got to stop using the word "so" as a transitional piece. That's a quick aside. The University of Minnesota, okay, I'm going to be wildly speculative here. Mm-hmm. So does this mean then that they're going to completely do away with having golf as a varsity sport? Yeah, I don't
know. There is a practice facility that is gorgeous.
But how can you compete as a Big Ten school without a golf course?
They'd play at Midland Hills. I don't think they had many competitions at this course.
Okay.
Right? It's not, maybe they did. It doesn't seem like much of a competition
Okay,
course.
well, that aside, so if that's the case, then I'll dial back my tirade a bit because Mark Coyle, the athletic director at the University of Minnesota, when he got this job, he basically gutted the sports department. I mean, they got rid of half of their programs because Royce had one of the most epic tirades of all time because the Big Ten was just printing money right now.
Okay.
So if this is the case where they're going to get rid of golf as a sport, then I have an even bigger issue with it because what it leads me to believe is they just announced that $20 million is set aside. Well, but for each school is going to be able to hand that out for NIL money for students, and most of it, nobody's dumb. Everyone realizes it's either going to go to football or men's basketball. Those are your two biggest revenue-producing sports in college athletics. But my point is, why? Why do you have to get rid of this? There was a piece, and I don't remember if I was watching KSTP or if I was watching Fox Time, but there was a piece done on the fact that they have to increase tuition for this coming school year, for the calendar year of 2025, 2026. And so they did one of these man on the street, guy walks around with a camera out talking to various students. Some were, looked like freshmen going into their sophomore year, and others looked like they were grad students, so they're a little bit older. And it was stunning to watch this. Not one of them was outraged. And maybe they just handpicked the ones that were completely okay with it. I mean, I'm sure they didn't want to put the kid on that said, bleep this is a joke, right? And maybe there was some that said that. But it was astonishing to me to see, and I'm not picking on her, but she was probably, I'm going to guess, 21, 22 years old. And her answer was, yeah, I understand that, sometimes, you got to, pay a little bit more to get a little bit more. So I kind of get it. And I just thought, you buffoon.
Sure. She was a student.
Right. Yeah. Your $30,000 a year tuition is going to go up to $35,000 or whatever the case is. But you're not upset about this by any means? I would be outraged.
It's because it's not affecting their pocket, right?
It's all student loans.
It's all student loans. Yeah. So it's not a real number.
It's all monopoly money.
It's all just fake money to them. They don't understand what $5,000 more per year is going to mean to them over the next 4 years, over the next 40 years as they pay off their student loans, even if they pay them off. Right? Even if somebody pays them off or they have to pay them off. One more thing about this golf course closing. So people are pissed, right?
Yeah.
But a whole bunch of people are advocating for the preservation of green spaces. We have a green space.
Wait a minute.
We have 18 of them. So what some morons want is the course to be closed, and then we're not actually going to make this taxable space that Falcon Heights can grab and tax homeowners for their property taxes. They're going to make a green space of some of the 140 acres. So they won't be able to collect any taxes off of that space. That is not a good decision. So it's so weird too. When we played out there, I want to say something special. I'm forgetting this guy's name. I had the best starter we've ever had at a golf course in my entire life. This guy that worked at the University of Minnesota.
Help me, what's a starter?
Starter is the guy who gets all the groups out, right? He sits at the first tee and says, hey, you're up next, you're up next. And this guy was funny, friendly. We had a fivesome, right? And you don't have fivesomes. We had 4 foursomes in a row, and one of them was a fivesome. And we were trying to figure out how we were going to get this one guy out. And the one guy was carrying, and he said, oh my God, go grab a cart. Don't worry about it. You guys can have a fivesome. I don't care. And he was such a gentleman. And if that guy loses his job because they closed this course, I'm going to be pissed because he was so great. I wish I could remember his name. He was such a great thing. I even wrote it down someplace on my scorecard. Then I shot so crappy I threw the scorecard away. Right, where I could say I need to talk about him on the show and tell everybody what a gentleman he was.
No, what you should do is if he does lose his job, he's going to become the new CEO of Fratelloni's.
That would totally be logical. He can take my job.
Right.
He'd be better.
Well, I guess that's the part that's frustrating for me. And I'm not even a golfer, but you're right. Because Lord knows the surrounding area of the greater Twin Cities metropolitan area, what we need is more housing units.
Yeah. It's going to be 4-story, relatively low-income apartment buildings or whatever it's going to be. 144 acres is a lot of acreage, right? They can do something on that. And there's beautiful houses right in that area. If they just were going to build houses, I get it. But university, keep something. be elegant in one spot, right? Just keep something. You don't have to have every sport just be football. The course is fine. Like retirees will live across the street, so there's a building for professors that live right across the street from Les Bolstead.
Okay.
And they can play the course. So if you were a professor there and you had a long tenure at the University of Minnesota and you wanted to retire relatively affordably and go play some golf right across the street, it's all going to be gone.
I got a better idea.
Yes.
Build these condos or whatever you're going to do on, inside the course. And here, to get to your car, you got to walk across. The fairway. Good, best of luck to you. Make it a real challenge.
Sure. So
it's almost like Frogger, but golf style.
Residents in Minnesota, Wisconsin, North Dakota, and Manitoba, for some reason we have reciprocity with Manitoba, pay $29,176 approximately to go to the school. That's all in housing, transportation, miscellaneous, and so on. If you're a non-resident, you're spending $60,000, $59,944 to go to the University of Minnesota. It's already an expensive school. They should, some of the classrooms I had at the University of Minnesota had 1,000 students in them.
Wow.
Right? With one professor. And that was a really, it was in an auditorium. They probably made some money on that class if the prices were, $29,000 for an undergrad. It's pretty impressive, Reavers.
That's insane.
Pretty
my goodness. Let's talk about our friends at North American Banking Company. North American Banking Company has been at it since 1998 when they made a promise to deliver a better banking experience for their customers where you know your banker and they know you. And while a lot has changed since then, this commitment to being a true community bank in the Twin Cities, that has not. And your first step is finding them online at nabankco.com to learn more. They have 6 beautiful Twin Cities locations to serve you. Roseville and 50th in France are the home of yours truly, but you can also see them in Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, and Maple Grove. They offer all of the services as the other banks, whether you're looking to buy a home, maybe finance a new home renovation project, or get that new car that you've been thinking about. My friends at North American Banking Company are going to be able to help you out. They also offer all of the same online and mobile banking options as the other banks, but the key difference is you're going to get the unparalleled service of a community bank. And they are also locally owned and operated. And here's why that's important. That means that loan decisions are made right here in the Twin Cities. They are not sent out of state. So this helps you business owners solve problems quickly and expand your business with confidence. Once again, it's nabankco.com to learn more. North American Banking Company, member FDIC, is an equal housing lender. The Weekly Scramble. We'll be right back.
So this is the part where Reavers replies to his wife's text messages that she sends during the show all the time.
But in fairness, we're recording at a different time.
Yeah, normally she wouldn't. Right. Exactly. She would not assume you were doing GL. We're recording a little early today, folks, at about 10 o'clock, and normally we record at 2 o'clock.
I really didn't want to get back into politics, but this...
That's what we do.
But this soundbite that I found yesterday, it's just so... Okay, let me set it up this way. Because one of them is one of the clips that I was going to play in the first segment, but forgot because I got distracted because that happens to me on occasion. And the second is from Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, which is just maddening. Great. It's just maddening. Well, the first comes to us from Karen Bass. She is the mayor of the city of Los Angeles. So I'll shut your mic off, Mike, so you can actually hear the clip. But this is... Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass. You remember Karen Bass?
I love her
because she was in Ghana when the city was on fire.
She had to be
because she had to be there. She was a dignitary. She had to be there. Yeah. Well, this is Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass talking about why Nike stores are being looted because people are so upset, about immigration.
They need food, Reavers.
Mm-hmm.
A week ago, everything was peaceful in the city of Los Angeles and in all of the representatives behind me in their cities as well. Things began to be difficult on Friday when raids took place, and it's important that I begin there because that is the cause of the problems that have happened in the city of Los Angeles and other cities. This was provoked by the White House. The reason why, we don't know.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, do you
remember the gaslighting thing I was telling you about? Yeah. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
So think this out, because I do think there is some correlation and causality, right?
Sure.
When you bring in troops, people get like, oh, okay, now we're going to go fight the military, right? Let's go burn down some. I mean, the Nike store, it didn't look like the group didn't look like a bunch of maybe illegal aliens trying to get shoes. That didn't look like the demographic that was breaking into the Nike store.
Because that's how you stick it to
the man.
because
Yes.
You got to loot that Nike store.
Yeah, and the Adidas store.
And the Adidas store,
the little jewelry store. Ask me. I'm going to ask you this, and I really wanted to get your opinion on it because I don't understand. Do you think rioting in L.A. is good for the Trump administration?
Do I think?
Because I think people
in
think
LA
it is, and I don't know if it is.
I think when the vast majority of the American public, and I'm going to speak for myself because I think most people that listen to our show probably align themselves with us. So here's how I'll answer that. I think when the vast majority of people see what's going on in places like LA and hopefully what doesn't take place here over the weekend in St. Paul and in Minneapolis, when people see that, when the average Joe or Jane is putting in the 9 to 5 and is worried about getting his son's baseball bag to his tournament on time and just trying to find a way to get out of work maybe a little bit early so I can make my kid's game on time or whatever, right? That average Joe that's just trying to lead a good life, trying to raise good kids, trying to be a productive member of society. When they see this crap and these whiny brats that are throwing crap at cops and causing all this mayhem, I think it does only because we want to just say, bleep all of you.
Okay, let me ask you another question.
At least that's the way I feel.
Okay, I kind of get it. But at some point in time, if this keeps happening, if an ICE raid happens and then the town that the ICE raid happens in blows up, metaphorically blows up with rioting, do you think the world of the United States will say, stop doing ICE raids? Right? Because if someone came into Minnesota, because Governor Walz wants this to be a sanctuary state, right? And if the ICE comes in here and starts doing raids, and then we start lighting stuff on fire, someone starts lighting stuff on fire because they're pissed and they're rioting, there's a little part of my brain that would say, do ICE raids somewhere else. I don't want ICE raids here all of a sudden. Right? Does that make sense?
It does.
If George Floyd had to happen, like if we couldn't control it, would you have wanted it in some other state?
Probably,
yeah. Right? That's the same thing with an ICE deportation.
But here's the problem, though. Look at what happened here when all of the protesters showed up because they thought it was immigration that was removing illegals from our own city.
Sure.
When in actuality, it was a drug bust of 900 pounds of meth.
Yes.
And however many dangerous narcotics that probably saved how many lives. So don't let the facts and the truth get in the way of your anger and your outrage. And that's the problem that I have. Because you have the likes of this gutless weenie Jason Chavez and all these other weak-ass politicians posting on social media that isn't true.
Sure.
None of it was true. But yet you're the ones that are provoking Karen Bass. These are the ones that are provoking this outrage where they're completely destroying what was it Lake Street and parts of downtown because of over misinformation.
Sure.
And the Star Tribune had such a bogus, weak article on their website this morning. I couldn't even read it because it was making me so angry.
Sure.
Because by the way, we were wrong, but we won't admit we were wrong. Meaning the Star Tribune.
So I'm genuinely wondering if this is better for the Trump administration to have mass unrest in LA, have the National Guard and some active duty soldiers come in. That's it's not unprecedented. It's just not common, right?
Right.
And does that bode well? What if we have to do ICE raids in 75 towns? Right? What if Tom Homan's plan is to go to Minneapolis and go to Chicago and go to Milwaukee, and he does these, and everywhere they do them, there's massive fiery riots. People having fun watching cars burn.
God.
Right? If that's the case, I can see America saying, we're done with this. I don't want another summer of love. Right? We don't want that.
Well, I guess that's the part that really worries me, Mike, is, okay, we all get what happens in the summer in general. Crime goes up.
Sure.
It's nicer outside.
Not in Minnesota. It's not nicer. It's
but you know what I'm saying.
Shitty, but
right.
yes.
But I'm saying, the crime just, it's just statistics.
Everything's heightened. Yeah.
Everything, I mean, when I was in the industry, we always knew, okay, it's summer, be careful. We just knew that.
Sure.
Because there's more people out and about. at in the middle of January at 2 a.m. or at 3 a.m. when you're walking back to your car after your shift, you knew you were safe because it's butt ass cold outside, right?
Yeah.
And you were fine. But in the summer, you got to have your head on a swivel.
Yeah.
That's just
people are out. And
everybody knows that. So that's what I guess really frightens me is what the hell's going to happen this summer.
Sure.
I mean, can it possibly get worse?
Well,
and I hope the answer is no.
Yeah. What happens in this summer when they do ICE deportations in a town like Minneapolis? I don't even know how big our issue of illegal immigrants are in Minneapolis. I don't even really know, to tell you the truth.
I guess I don't either.
Yeah. And so would they come here? And then are we going to lose our minds, rightfully so or not rightfully so?
Most likely.
And then a guy like me and you, do we say, I don't want this crap. It's not worth it. The way we're doing it is not worth it. I said last time, the juice is not worth the squeeze. Will the juice be worth the squeeze if we do that? I wouldn't have a lot of capacity to want that to happen in my town.
Right.
And I know that in LA you hear like, it was 1 square mile out of 150 square miles. Yeah, 1 square mile where people live and businesses are, and it's going through all this crap.
Well, share whatever you want with the class, but I mean, you guys own several outlets. I mean, is this something that you guys are concerned about?
Yeah, I mean, it's not on my radar today, but we were looted during BLM, the George Floyd riots and the BLM riots, and we were looted, and that's not really fun. I'm going to just go ahead and say that. That's It's just not a lot of fun, right? You serve a community really well for as long as you possibly can, and then we had just videos of people looting us, right? And I think you might have seen some of those.
I remember
videos.
you showing
and
one
I
to
didn't
me.
share those videos out on social media. I could have. They were so like depressing to share.
Well, and for someone in your position, what do you stand to gain?
Yeah, what could we have gained? By sharing
I mean,
them?
obviously, everybody is already outraged on your behalf to begin with, and then all you're
Not
going to
everybody.
Well, but that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But the people that aren't are just going to say, "Well, look at this guy. He's a business." But this still doesn't make it right.
No, but it surely won't. The negative effects, because you got to remember that's when people were painting on the walls of their businesses BLM, and they were like actively saying this is a minority-owned business. Do not loot. It didn't matter to anybody.
I'm
by
glad
the way.
that you mentioned that because one of the most startling photos that I ever remember seeing and it was a tenuous time here in the Twin Cities, and I'll never forget. And I don't recall the business, but it basically had the plywood in front of the window,
Sure.
and it had an arrow saying, "Please don't burn this building. Children are sleeping upstairs."
Yes. Yeah.
Think of that.
Think of that.
That's the kind of crap that you have to do when you live in a third world country.
Yep.
Not in the Twin Cities.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's what makes me so angry. And I'm going to go down this road like I did a couple of shows ago, but I'm sick of seeing what's happening here. And I'm talking about Minneapolis and St. Paul. Again, I didn't sign up for this.
Sure.
And I hate watching my city, the city that I've basically grown up with. I've lived here since I was an adult. I hate seeing what's happening and the disintegration of what once was a really great city. It saddens me.
Sure.
It's not something that you're the guy that lives out in the country. Well, yeah, you know why?
Yeah.
Because I know my kids are safe. That's why I live where I live.
I really think Minneapolis is coming back. I really do.
I thought that for a minute, though, a couple of weekends ago when I took my kids.
You said it on this show.
I really thought that, but this weekend will go a long way to tell the truth about what's happening.
I would hate to have a step backwards because I talked to somebody. I had a flight back from Memphis this last week, and I talked to a woman who lives downtown Minneapolis, and she's an adult woman. She was like 65 years old.
Sure.
She said she loves it. She said it was really hard for about 3 years where it was you and criminals out on the road. And now she said it's vibrant. People are back in downtown.
Traffic is terrible again.
Well, yeah, companies are bringing their people back. She said it's starting to feel like a real city again. And I've heard that from a handful of people. It's like, good. We need that. We need a prosperous city. I hope this parade and this rioting that might happen tomorrow for this No Kings event doesn't take us steps backwards. And if it does take us steps backwards, what a shame on the people that are peacefully protesting if all it does is take us backwards, right? Peaceful protesters should be that, and we should be able to clean up the trash cans afterwards, sweep the streets, and say, okay, everybody went home and everyone was safe. If that turns into anything more, I wonder how this Israeli bombing of Iran is going to affect the protest. I mean, it's
not going to help. That's
not going to help,
sure.
right?
But I think the one thing, in all honesty, I casually mentioned traffic, but something just occurred to me. One thing that might help, in all honesty, MnDOT might have saved us because 94 is going to be closed all weekend.
Really, it absolutely
Honestly.
might. Yeah.
or else they'll just wreak havoc on the city streets. I have no idea.
Yeah,
but
all I
anyway.
know is when I was down in Memphis, I went down for work.
Yep.
It was great. Like, so we had this big event, and it was a strategy meeting. It was really cool, and they took us to a zoo, Reavers, the Memphis Zoo.
Wait, so you were at the Memphis Zoo for work purposes?
Yeah, and at the Memphis Zoo, they only had one dog.
Really?
Yeah, it was a real Shih Tzu.
Wait, I gotta give you this one. I was late on the rim check because I'm looking at you going, God, he really went to the zoo.
He really went to the zoo. That's right. I've been working these. During my speeches, I had to give some speeches over the week.
You didn't do that one.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Okay.
I did the. So I tried to pick someone in the group, right?
Yep.
So there's a little. If you love speaking in front of crowds, which I don't necessarily, what you do is you pick like the people that you want them to like you the most, right?
Yep.
So I think my bosses like me, right? But then like other people in other departments that I value.
Sure.
So I pretend like I add them to the story. And I told the one where, hey, we went up to the bar and the bartender pulled this dirty looking bottle and he said, it's Australian beer made with real kangaroo. Right? And I said you could really taste the hops. So good.
Yeah.
So good. And then
it
people
wins every time.
People clapped. I saw one girl crying in the background.
Really?
It was that good.
It
You know what
touched her.
she said? She
What?
said, hey, Mike, you're the best. And I said, no, Reavers is the best.
Thank you, Michael. Please do us a favor, rate and review the show wherever you happen to be listening to the Weekly Scramble podcast. It helps other people find the show, and it also helps us out as well, and we certainly do appreciate it. His name is Mike Fratelloni. My name is Chris Reavers. Thank you so very much for listening to the Weekly Scramble podcast. We will talk to you again next time. Until then, cheers.
See you later, everybody, on YouTube.